Murder. I told you not to pull a gun tonight. You shoot too fucking quick when deals go south. The motherfucker had no chance to bite the bait before you ran your goddamn mouth. You pissed him off. He called your fucking bluff. You claimed he had some bullshit dope to sell. You got damn lucky when the shit got rough and blew his stupid fucking ass to hell. Oh yeah, we got it all right now, the dope, the fucking cash, and one dead piece of shit. We've got to dump his ass. Our only hope is put him in his car and fucking burn it. Because if the fucking pigs get wind of this, I'll cut your throat and fill your guts with piss. Admittedly, this is a startling piece of Fescinine poetry. Fescinine poetry was common in ancient Rome only on the topsy-turvy festival of the Saturnalia, 3-day festival where kings became slaves and slaves became kings, wives disappeared from husbands and kids, and so forth. Poems of sex, masturbation, and licentiousness were the rule of the festival, but only on the festival. At any other time, and such fescininity could, like it did for the French poet Francois Villion in the Renaissance, put a noose around your neck. These were the good old days when Henry VIII burned William Tynsdale at the stake for just translating the Bible into English. However, the point of this sonnet is not to celebrate such matters, but to use them in order to illustrate a crucial point about metrical language. It's true that I tried to write as villainously as I could for shock value, and for that I do apologize to those readers who are offended by the horrid verbiage and heartless cruelty of the presented here. I chose violence because pornography embarrasses me. However, I urge you to read on and determine what I am about with this poem. Firstly, this is a legitimate, if not nice, Shakespearean sonnet in form. Each line, with the exception of line 12, has 10 syllables, and there are 14 of them. The rhyme scheme is AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF, GG, ending with an heroic couplet. The first 8 lines form the octet. The volta or turn comes at line 9, where it's supposed to. The octet sets up the situation, and the sestet, or last 6 lines, brings it to a conclusion of sorts. Now the main point. Each line is a perfect example of iambic pentameter, that is 5 iambic feet. The accented syllables, those that are pronounced slightly louder than their neighbors, are written out in caps. Each one reads like the natural speech of men, to quote Wordsworth. In this case, there is nothing to distinguish between iambic pentameter and the natural speech of men if we examine each line in isolation from its fellows. In other words, uttered out of context, nobody would take it for a line of poetry. It is only by association of these lines in a body that makes them all form a poem. Implications. Many musicians claim they don't like to play with a metronome. These same musicians usually have timing issues with their music. Too many modern poets poo-poo metrical language as archaic at the expense of revealing that they have a wooden ear. Marlowe did not invent iambic pentameter with his mighty line, "Was this the face that launched 1,000 ships?" He realized it through trial and error after mastering Greek and Latin verse and using the poetic traditions of those ancient languages to write verse in his native tongue. He just realized that classical prosody didn't quite fit English. English is naturally iambic, a borrowed term that fits very loosely. It is a pattern alternation of unaccented and accented syllables, not short and long vowels. Scan a newspaper article or some rap by Tupac Or Howl by Allen Ginsberg and see for yourself. Metrical language is the genius and the strength of English. Forget line length for the moment. Metrical language was not an invented affectation by Elizabethan stuffed shirts. It is essential quality to this mighty, lovely language we make poetry with. If you want your poetry to read naturally and flowingly, it will be iambic, at least in parts, even if you try and avoid it. I will conclude by saying that conspicuously avoiding metrical language in poetry is artificial and not natural at all, and it makes the poets who claim to do so appear quite uninformed about the ancient roots and glory of their art. Again, sorry for the language, but it was all to serve a point and not merely offend for offense's sake. Common, everyday, modern, twerk your booty in the streets English is iambic too, generally. Honi soit qui mal y pense.